Hello, hello, hello. It's your new day with Donna Reiners and Dr. Cami Owen, where we solve all the world's problems, or maybe just one. And maybe it's yours. In our 30 minutes, we talk about your emotions and mind and how they tie into your body and spirit. We want you to renew and restore yourself in a world that wants you crazy. And sometimes we even talk about money. Introducing your hosts, Donna Reiners and Dr. Cami Owen. Hello, 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 Donna Reiners and
Dr. Cami.
And when I was a little kid, my mom would say, "You watch your tone, young lady." And anyway, I would think, what's wrong with my tone? With attitude, right? And sometime back, it wasn't this year, but it's probably been a few years, but it's been getting richer and richer in my heart. And I haven't conquered it yet. You notice how our tone is like, "What are you doing? How are you?" This is the way it is. You know how it just comes on the down low? It's like it's like called a downbeat in music. Mm-hmm. One day, Craig and I were, and we may have talked about this some, but one day Craig and I were having a conversation in the office. And it's like God spoke to my heart. And he's like, how do you put it? God spoke to me and said, "Smile when you talk to him." And I'm like, fine. And so let's say someone's sitting in front of us and say, "How are you doing?" Yeah. So it's like, "How are you doing?" Mm-hmm. "How are you doing?" You see the complete difference in your tone. "How are you doing?" "What's going on with you?" Mm-hmm. "What's going on with you?" "Hey, you all right?" "Oh, good." "Oh, I'm so sorry you're sick. That's just horrible." I'm like, do you see how depressing it sounds to be so? It's not that it's negative. It's just, it's like there's no life in it.
Yeah.
And so I started to really, with intention, and then I told him, I said, "You need to smile when you talk to me." Because Craig has a strong, authoritative place. I mean, he's just like, "Okay, listen, you need to do la, 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 la." I'm like, "You need to smile when you talk to me, buddy." And so we have to remind ourselves, because we're not always like in that zone. I spend so much time by myself too, that I don't even, but I did in our women's group, I did a whole, like a 10-minute segment on smile when you talk to me, because it really started making a difference inside of me, even talking to me, that we do have thoughts in our mind toward ourselves, and we may not even know that it's coming across negative inside of us, even though that's not the intention. Mm-hmm. And I think tone might have a place to play in our interactions with ourselves, or even our interactions with God, because sometimes interacting with our, all that looks the same, and interacting with humanity. And when you go to a store or something, "Hey, I want that dress. Give me that chocolate back there." It's like there's no friendliness to that. "Hey, could I have that chocolate back there?" So, or let's say someone's in adversity, like we talked in the last show, and you're in a place where things are hard. Mm-hmm. And there are hard things. When you're in pain years ago, that was a hard thing. Mm-hmm. That wasn't an easy thing. Mm-mm. Even when you addressed it and you got breakthrough, it was still a hard thing. Mm-hmm. So what if we changed our mind, and what if the tone is part of the change, so that our body starts receiving and being a transmitter of goodness, like an antenna. Mm-hmm. that's got goodness coming out of it, that will get goodness back, change the channel, like the channel. What if our tone is our channel? Yeah. Where do you think?
I love that, because what we say matters. How we say it matters, because usually how we say it is who we're being in the moment when we say it. And it's still puzzling to me. Maybe you can give me insight on this, but I get the feedback a lot that I'm scary. That people are afraid of me.
Are you scary?
I don't feel scary. I really don't. So I'm still looking at that. I'm receiving that feedback. Like there is something that about me that has people be afraid of me. It's still puzzling, but I'll receive it. But I am more conscious about my tone when I'm with someone, because I am guilty of that. I get very laser focused in my thoughts and what I'm about to do and say, and it's really who I'm being is, I'm not here right now. I'm over there dealing with this. Like in my mind, I'm not in the present moment. And so when I'm not in the present moment, I might occur as dismissive or or like when you gave me the mineral the crystal.
Okay, let me just tell you. I found this beautiful. Oh, I wish we could bring it. It's so heavy though. I found this beautiful rock crystal, salt crystal, and I'm like, oh my goodness. And in my heart, I was like, it was like a big thing. Okay, not that. From my heart, it was like it was intentional. I intentionally gave this because I thought that it was special. So
it is.
I give it to it is special, but I give it to her office, and
I'm being bound around. I got patients.
She's working.
Yeah, I'm working.
I mean, she's working. I mean, that's what I was going to say. She was working. Come on. Context is also everything, guys. And so I gave it to her, and she goes, oh, thanks. And she put it, and there's like 7 other big crystal rocks. I'm like, oh, I would have kept it if I'd known you had a gazillion of them already. And I was laughing at myself. But I knew she received it, and I knew she liked it. But I also knew it wasn't as special as I thought it was. My intention was special, and I know she received it. I don't know if she could pick out the one I gave her. But the fact is, she was at work. When you have, and this, I want to, with all, and you might be scared of other people, but just because tone. But I will say that Cammie's background in working in a field where people's lives are at stake, to me, I want you in the zone. I want you in that place where you are completely dedicated and you're not conflicted. But I also know that when you're in charge of a clinic and you're not there as an employee, but it's your baby, and all these other people basically represent you, and all these other people, their actions, their inactions, whatever it is they do, all of it is not just a reflection of her. It's like she does it or doesn't do it. And so I'm cognizant of that responsibility. So I cut you lots of slack. I'm like, no. She's good as gold. She's amazing. Her heart, she'd give you the shirt off her back, But yes, I'm the same way. I come across as intimidating. I'm not like I used to be. I'm not as harsh, but I don't think you're harsh.
I also think...
I think you're focused.
Yes.
And you have an opinion that you don't, you don't waver very often.
I do have an opinion. Now, I can absolutely be swayed. I'm open-minded, so I'm not closed-minded. If I'm seeing something incorrectly and somebody shows me I'm seeing it incorrectly, oh, wow, thank you. I want to evolve, and I'm not a know-it-all. The more I learn, the more I know I don't know. you know? So it's always a beautiful thing to have that exchange. But being intimidating and being with that label is I'm not committed to that. I do not want to be intimidating, and I know that the society we live in right now, it's much better than it was even 10 years ago, has a problem with strong women.
Still, yes.
Yeah. They have a problem with strong women.
It's okay to be a strong man.
Yes. If you're a strong man, you're a leader, you're a take charge person, you're blah, 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 blah,
But if you're a strong woman, you're arrogant.
You're arrogant, you're a bitch.
You're overbearing. You're being too aggressive.
Or emotional.
But if a man did it, you'd be like, oh, look at that. Well,
taking
he's
charge.
going after it.
It's taking charge. Yeah. So there's that. And we are the pioneers of setting the trail for the women behind us, and we had women before us.
And the other thing with that, I just want to say, the other thing with that, because of the perception, say, especially of women who want a man to take charge, who want to be protected, not that I don't want to be protected, who has such a space inside of them of the patriarch being the one who is the leader. I could be saying something to someone in this, because I'm in sales, which I'd have never thought I'd be in sales my entire life. Good Lord, it's crazy that I'm even in sales. But anyway, I can say something, and I can come across a certain way to someone, and I get a bad rap. Okay, but if a man had said the same thing in the same way,
yes,
they'll be sold.
Yes,
because the man's okay to do that.
Yes,
But I'm too aggressive. And I find that so fascinating, and I bet you have the same thing.
I do, and
Okay.
and it's okay. It's now funny to me, but at some points, you know, because a big part of my job is sales as well.
Yeah, of
It
course.
really is. So you know, I talk to people,
giving the benefits and showing
telling
them how
them
it will help them.
My job is to sell you on your health.
Yes.
To sell you on your health.
Yep.
Versus sell you on your sickness.
Same thing. I feel the same way. Yes.
So sometimes that's a tough road. It's a tough road to hoe. You know, that I come in and we're talking and they're committed to being sick. You know, a lot of people come in and they don't realize they're committed
to being depressed. Committed to
and so I have to wade through, you know, that. And sometimes it requires me being straight and direct and not farting around, you know. And sometimes people take that some kind of way, but I will tell you that, you know, in a lot of these cases, it's like I see people running towards the cliff and they can't see that there's a ravine and they're running off into it. And I'm doing everything I can to stop them, but it's ultimately their choice. They're still running. But I will be a real stand for, you know, doing everything I can to have you be aware of the choice you're making.
And part of the problem I see in your field, and my field too, I think, because even in the health sales I do, it's like you don't always have time to build relationship. You have that time frame to show the benefits, to sell you on your health, to help you see the value you should have for yourself and the value we have for you in nothing flat.
Yeah.
So there's not time to build a relationship, which would give permission for her to look at me and say, you know, you're being a bitch right now. You know, pardon me for all you who are, you know, I'm just saying this is real life here. We're the real life show. You know?
We are.
But at the same time, like, I know she's for me. But if you don't know she's for you, she could come across as that person. You know, so we don't always have time for that.
That's a good point, though, that human connection is primary. It has to be primary.
It is.
And then once you know where somebody's heart is and where they are, then there a real conversation can be had. But that's one of the things inside of a wellness evaluation. The second thing I talk about is integrity, and I'm going to be transparent with you, and I'm requesting you be transparent with me. And in this conversation, it's an open conversation. Don't leave anything on the table, because I can't help you if you're holding back because whatever reason. And you know, one of the things that I became aware of more intensely, not that I wasn't aware of it, is how much belief system impacts how people see their health and how they're willing or not willing to work with someone. There's cultural things out there that you know it, but it's kind of over here and not here, where you're considering it as in the conversation. And just, you know, different parts of our history that might have certain cultures, you know, see the medical field as scary and out to get you. You know, like, for example, like, there are people in the Black population that have an intense distrust for medicine, because we've done a lot of bad things in medicine to specifically the Black population, the Tuskegee Airmen, you know, the syphilis trials and all those kind of things. And then you've had, you know, other cultures that have equally been, you know, traumatized from it. So having
in the name of experimentation.
yes, and having that be in your awareness is something that I've recently recommitted to seeing that.
Seeing where they're coming from.
Yes, yes,
Yes.
meeting them and all the way across the street and taking their hand and bringing them across
Yes.
versus, come on over,
Yeah.
and so I can see how me just standing over here saying come on over could be experienced in a different tone than it's intended. Does that make sense?
Oh, it does. No, that makes perfect sense.
Because my heart, I have no problem sleeping at night by where my heart is and what I'm really committed to. But my delivery can sometimes use some work.
And experience is everything. I mean, I took shots for 10 years once. And, and I've had more MRIs than most people will ever have in their whole lifetime on my brain. And which meant I got shots for those too, And so I've had a lot of mistrust, I'd say, because I do see that for the most part, medicine is practicing. They're practicing medicine.
Oh, they are.
And I don't. And I really like. We have a wonderful doctor who's an internal medicine. His mom is acupuncturist for like 25 plus years. I mean, so he understands, and he's an Asian man, definitely American, an American Asian man, who specializes in brain health and things of that nature. And he was able to really, now this is years later, that other happened in the 90s with all the brain stuff. And then years later, I meet this other doctor who has different technology. We didn't have the technology back then. I mean, most my brain MRIs, they actually were lost in the flood when the medical center was flooded.
Oh, wow.
My stuff was stored in the basement.
Oh, geez.
So some of my stuff was just destroyed and never to be. So I didn't have. There's some things I didn't have. And then there's some things that I do still have from the 90s. And technology's changed. So the technology that was there, what you can see in my brain then was tiny, tiny, tiny. You can see it now.
Yeah.
You can still see that that's still in the brain, but
it's
it looks
like a
different.
Polaroid versus HD TV.
Correct.
Yes.
And so now, I'm just saying now I look at that and go, technology was what it was. Even though I'm still going to lean more to alternative health, there are some parts that were in it. Like the doctor I had, I don't know how we turned into doctor stuff, but the doctor his name was Dr. Walensky. And I'm just going to, at the time I was misdiagnosed with MS and didn't know it was a misdiagnosis till years later because technology changed. You can see things differently now. You're like, oh, that wasn't at all what was happening, but that's all. And I remember, had such respect for him. I mean, he assigned me to have a colonic. I mean, telling you, that was like, that's huge, huge. He's retired now, but I trusted him. Like I trusted my life to this man, and he was not like moving you through any kind of system. He looked at you as an individual and all those things. It's almost like that's a dying breed.
Yes.
Because I've not met a doctor like that since. And why? Because of liability, because of our government.
Well, it's standard of care too. They can't practice that way. Legally, they can't practice that way.
Now.
It's true.
So now we have a whole generation of it seems, that though they may care, they don't have the time to truly care, to look at you as an individual. They don't have the time that they used to have because of all the legalities that have taken place between then and now that have shifted the way they have to practice medicine with no choice because of these legal things that are in place in the fabric of the medical system that we may not ever understand as an individual.
Well, I understand it.
I know you do.
It's big business, is what it is.
It is big business, but I really, truly, even though I still believe that doctors start out really wanting to help people, not just, and then they got wrapped up in it, and then they have no choice. It's like having a mega church. You're in the mega church, everything is in it, and you have no way to shift because it's just the way it is.
And if you try to shift, they will annihilate you.
Yes.
They will annihilate you. And in the medical field, they'll come and take your livelihood away.
Correct.
So it's not like we're not talking about doctors are bad people or anything like that, because it's just not true.
I love all the doctors I see.
Yes,
I still see doctors, guys, even though I moved all the alternative stuff that we just got. So my doctor came to come in and see and say, "What company are you working with now?" I got all these things in front of me.
No, it's great.
Trying new things.
But going back to the subject of tone.
Yes.
And how we.
They have no time to even give you a good tone.
They don't.
Their backs to you while they're writing in the computer.
Well, the average time with the patient is 7 minutes.
Oh my goodness gracious, it's insane.
It is, but one of the things that struck me while you were talking about that is tone and how people communicate now. One of the things is everything's done on text, and
there is no tone.
Very few people. Well,
that's why I leave voice messages.
That's actually not true, because people can catch a tone of what your communication is through a text. So like if you all caps your text, then you're yelling at them. That there is an impression of a tone, even in the written word, because the written word still has an energy behind it.
But if I didn't know your heart and your responses to me through text, if I did not know you personally, they would be so short and to the point that I think, what the hell's wrong with you, lady?
Yeah, no,
do you not care?
No, I get that all the time, because my texts are short and to the point.
You have no time to not be short and to the point. Plus, she's short and to the point anyway.
I am, but I'm not.
But she's tall.
I'm not that tall. But I am short and to the point, and sometimes that comes across. The tone of that comes across as uncaring, or like you're saying, somebody will text me
pour
something.
Their heart out, and I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
Or no answer.
Yeah. And I'm not a big social media person or slave to my phone. So people that know me now, have to just know it drives my husband crazy that he'll call me and I may answer.
Did you call?
Next or I'll call him on the way home, and he'll say, "Did you see my text before you left?" And I'm like, "No, I didn't," because I don't, that's not who I am. I'm not checking text all the time or anything. So, but the other thing is people have, a lot of our younger people have lost the ability to communicate.
And empathize.
Empathize and communicate. And we're so jaded, and things that used to shock us now are just everyday normal. I remember when I was younger, back in the early 90s, there was a video back in the day when you had to go to a video store and go find a video.
Blockbuster.
Yes. And there was a video called The Faces of Death. That was the name of it. It was like this very controversial film. So, of course, I want to see it.
Of course you do.
I want to see it. And it was reality TV is all it was.
Wow.
But it was the first time that had been released to the world of reality TV. And some of it was, just one thing was they filmed a guy, a police officer that was trying to wrangle an alligator, and the alligator ate him. And they
oh my God.
Yeah, it's very graphic. Very, very graphic. And one was,
that's horrible.
One was showing an execution by electrocution, and how horrible that is. And so what was interesting is I remember when I first saw that, I was just horrified, like I had a visceral reaction to it, because I'd never seen anything in person like that, because I was still young, when I saw it, teenager. And now I can get on my phone and find 15 websites that's showing graphic stuff like that. And so the younger generation have been just bombarded with access to seeing anything and everything in reality. So their context, their tone is so much different than even ours is, because things that they're exposed to, we were never exposed to at the age that they're exposed to now. sixth graders having access to information about sex in the way that they're actually engaging in sex, in fourth,
I
fifth
know.
grade. And so,
Yeah.
When we talk about tone, that also has to be factored into this.
It does.
That the life experience somebody has when you say, oh my God, so and so got in a car wreck, and it's just devastating because they're hurt and there's something to it. Oh, okay. Because
you keep moving.
that's just not a big deal.
Just like social media, Facebook, one person dying here and the next person you're laughing.
Yeah.
It's like every scene is completely different, and you don't have no time to even feel anything.
Process. Yeah, it's numbing. It's numbing the feelings. It's having people exit their body and not be in their body, and not be present and actually feel anything.
I saw a video the other day of this. I wish I had it to show right now. I thought, oh my gosh, what would I do? I know what you would do. They were experimenting on the streets. And now these were all adults. These were not children. And there was this 2 men, and there was a child. It was the same child each time, so it was an experiment. They're walking around, and in front of people, they're
grabbing the kid,
kidnapping the kid, taking them off. And not one person, except for one person, tried. And the wife said, no, and pulled him back and kept moving.
Yep.
Mind your business.
Yes.
And it's like, these were all full-grown adults that were on their phone or not on their phone and just go, huh.
And this was not like, this was an obvious something's wrong.
Kidnapping.
Somebody coming up behind a kid, putting their hand over their mouth.
Or a thing over their head.
Yes, and then running off into.
And not one person did anything.
Yes.
Not one. And there were probably, I don't know, there could have been at least 7 to 10 circumstances where they did this over and over and over
and people
in different places. Not one person did one thing.
One lady ran in after the kid, and then they come out, they, kind of showing her it's okay, there's a camera over here, because she was visibly upset, and yes. Yeah.
I'm like, that we would not be so
disconnected
and so disconnected with humanity.
Yes. Yes.
It was so startling to me. And then, of course, my brain, I'm so detailed in my brain, I thought, sex trafficking.
Yes.
Listen, they weren't just taking young kids. I mean, young boys and young girls, they're the thing. But you know what we're going to do? We're going to talk about this more.
Yes.
In our next show. We thank you so much for visiting with us, and we'll see you soon.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining Your New Day with Donna Reiners and Dr. Cammie Owen. We look forward to seeing you next time. Remember, we solve all the world's problems, or maybe just one, and maybe it's yours. Until soon.